Alright, so in this video I'm going to continue with the tutorial on the lighting audit sample for NRG 101. And so take a look at the first video to see how all these numbers got in there. But here I'm going to show you how to calculate the total cost, the total carbon footprint. Alright. So we have all of our, really what we're dealing with now. I mean, the most important thing is that we have our annual kilowatt hours used per fixture in this house. And now we want to figure out how much is that going to cost us and how many emissions will that result in. Okay, so first of all, something that's worth showing you, you can make these columns thinner. It looks these a little wider than it has to be. So if you actually go up to the top to the columns and you click, you see here, and you left click and you can drag it over, make it a little smaller. Let's make this one a little smaller. Oop, a little too small. Okay, just so you know, you can do that. So now I need, this should be really easy. If I'm paying 15 cents a kilowatt hour, okay, and I use 1,000 kilowatt hours, the equation is really easy. I've pasted it in here, right? So we're doing the first one. We have 1,020 kilowatt hours per year and 15 cents a kilowatt hour. It's simple multiplication, right? Here's the formula. So what we need to do is we need to multiply this times 15 cents. However, so we could just type it in. We could just type in that equal sign, remember, and then click on the cell, right? And then we can hit times 0.15 if we want to. Notice that's our formula. We can hit enter, and that'll give us the right number. But what we really want to do is, because we're going to have to do the same thing for all of these. So if you remember, you can drag these formulas down. So this will actually work just fine. So I could drag this all down, and it'll give me the right answers, right? And so now we have this cell times 0.15. Now we have this cell times 0.15, and so on. What I wanted you to do is, this is an important thing to know in Excel, is to use what are called absolute references. And so the problem with this is, let's say I'm doing a calculation, I get it all done, I'm really happy with myself, and then I'm like, oh man, you know what, I messed that up. They're only paying 14 cents a kilowatt hour. So now I have to retype all these. I have to go in here, type in there, go in there, right? So it can be done, but if you have a big Excel sheet, that's really a problem. So what we're going to do instead, so I can delete all these. I'm going to highlight all these and just delete. So I highlight all of them, click delete, there we go. So what I'm actually going to do is put in a assumption over here. Okay, so cost per kilowatt hour. And what I'm going to do is actually slide this over to the right, and it's 0.15. Okay, let me make this cell smaller. Okay, there we go. So now we have 0.15. So that's the number. Now remember I said you couldn't put units in here, but you can tell Excel to add a $sign if you want to. So if you just click here, and you can see it says this is the type, okay, the format, excuse me, so it's general. So I can just click this $sign, boom. Now notice it adds a $sign there, so I can make this a little bit smaller, right? So there's an assumption. Now I can tell Excel to multiply this times this, and then this times this, and so on. So what I need to do is go in and type my formula. So click on the cell, hit equal sign. So it's still this, still times, but here's the trick. So now I'm going to click this because I am multiplying this by this. And actually, let me do this first. So now I have my kilowatt hours times my cost. So if I hit enter, you notice it gives me the right number, $153. Now here's the problem. If I drag down, I'm getting nothing. And here's why. So remember, Excel takes everything relatively. And so if I drag down a formula, right now it's this, it's this cell times this cell. Now the next one down is this cell, so that's good, but then it drags this down too. So that's what it's going to do. It's going to drag down now. It's the next one down, and then the next one down, and so on. So effectively you're multiplying this by nothing. Okay? So what you need to do is tell it, I want it to multiply this by this cell, but also multiply all the rest by that cell. And there's actually a really simple way to do that. What you need to do is, if you click on the formula and you can highlight, there's two ways to do this. What you need to end up with $signs. So you can go in there and type a $sign, move over, $sign. So instead of cell P8, it's $P, $8. Okay? If you do that and hit enter, and now if I drag down, okay, so remember before, for this cell, it multiplied 408 times the cell below this. But now you notice the dollar signs hold that formula in there. Okay, so what's interesting is because this cell does not have dollar signs, so it will move it down, right? Whereas this does have dollar signs, so you can see it stays on the cell. So hit enter again. You can see it moves it down 1, but it stayed on that cell, and so forth. So this type of absolute reference is really good if now I'm like, oh man, I actually, it's 14 cents a kilowatt hour. So now I can just go in here to that cell, type in 0.14, and I want you to see what happens to these cells when I hit enter. So I'm going to hit enter, and see they all change, all at the same time. Again, this is the power of Excel. If you design your formulas properly, and you can go back and change things, and you can change a lot of things really quickly. And so you're going to do that with your energy cost. Your energy cost you're going to do that with. Okay, so let's do that with the carbon footprint. Alright, so I want to see if you can figure it out, so feel free if you want to press pause and figure out how do I enter in the carbon footprint in tons per year. Oop, hold on a second. Okay, so I fixed that in tons per year, so figure out how to do that and enter that in, and then I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so here's my formula. So I need to multiply the kilowatt hours times the pounds per kilowatt hour and then convert to tons. So it's 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. Okay, so if I do that, I should get 0.765. So I would like you to try to do this with an absolute reference. So let's put pounds of CO2 per kilowatt hour. Okay, and then it's 1.5, right? So we got that. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Now we need an absolute reference for this cell based on the kilowatt hours per year. So here we just click on the cell, hit equals. So remember, it's this times this. Okay, so you can either type in the dollar signs or you can hit F. If you click on the cell and hit F4, it actually automatically does that for you. So that's nice. And then we need to divide by 2,000. So just type that in, and there you have it. Okay, so now we have it's going to continue to reference just this cell, but the J9 is going to move down as we drag down, and the 2,000 will stay the same. Oops. Okay, so let's do this and see what happens. Boom, there we go. So that is our tons of CO2 per year based on each of these fixtures. Now you can see it's not all that high, but what we can do, and what I want you to do, is add these up to do the total here. So to fill in the total down here, so we're going to total up the total energy use per year, the total cost per year, and the total carbon footprint. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can just type in sum, so if you hit equals, so there's all kinds of different functions that you can type in here. I'm going to type in sum, which is going to sum up a series of numbers. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can hit sum and then highlight everything you want to sum up. So you can just highlight here, right? And you can see it goes J9 colon J15. Okay. Feel free. I mean, there's all kinds of Excel tutorials out there. You can enter and sum it up. Or if you want to, I'm going to delete this. Okay, let me get rid of this. So if I want to just add up a bunch of different numbers, the probably most straightforward way is to click equals. And I'm adding this to this to this to this to this and so on. So I hit that plus that plus that plus that plus that plus that plus that. Okay, so now here's a really straightforward formula. I'm just adding up this, 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 and this. So you can do it that way as well. You hit enter and you're going to get the same number. Okay, so again, power of Excel, right? So I'm just adding up all these numbers to get this one. Well, then I just need to add up all these numbers to get this one, add up all these numbers to get this one. So it's all relative. So I can, again, it's not that I can just drag down in Excel. I can actually drag over. So if I go down to the bottom right, drag over, boom. Let me check my formula. It's adding this, 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 and this. There you go. And let's do the last one. So now I want to add all these up. Okay, and let me double check. It's adding up all those. That's good. One thing you notice, it actually included this sign here, so it assumes because I dragged this over that this was also $sign. So you can actually just click here and just click general and it'll change back. And if you want to get rid of some of the decimal points, there's function here, click that, there you go. Okay, so now we've calculated the annual energy use, energy cost, and carbon footprint of the different fixtures in this house. Now what you can do is you can now add more numbers here again, and you already have the formulas in here, so you can just enter in these numbers, drag down the formula, drag down this formula, drag down this, so and that'll update. Just remember to update your totals as well if you do that. Okay. And the last thing I want to do really quickly is I do have this energy saving measures description. This tells you what you're going to do to reduce your energy use for each of these. So let me kind of move this stuff out of the way here real quick. Alright, so for our first fixture, for our ceiling fixture, we're going to change all the 100 watt incandescents to 22 watt LEDs and turn off the lights. Okay, so this is just for this first one. So we'll just say change to LED, reduce hours, something like that. Okay, hit enter, there you go. All right, and then we can actually make this a little bigger, drag it over, make this smaller. Okay, change LED, reduce hours. And then you can type in here, so here's the, let me just to make sure, this is the kitchen ceiling light. So what am I doing to my kitchen ceiling light? My current use is this. So I'm changing the ceiling lights to 12 watt LED. So we'll say change to, I'm going to put the wattage in 12 watt LED. All right, so I can go back and edit this, change to 22 watt LED. Okay, so you just type that into all of these rows, just so you it's clear what kind of upgrades you're going to make. Okay, so that should take you through that entire first table.